Hey guys, how's everyone doing on this Monday? Hey, welcome to Lisa Thomas, who is now a new member. Guys, we started our membership this weekend and we got about, with Lisa, I believe now 29 members of our channel. So thank you so much, Lisa. One thing I just realized is I'm sitting here and thinking about members, which is a different thing for me because I'm seeing the green and I'm seeing the different members versus non members. I am excited because I think maybe we need like a twerk for welcoming members. I don't know. Just thinking out loud. If you guys are down for a twerking welcome members, maybe we'll look into putting something like this on. Shout out to everyone in the chat. I am loving these little emojis, loving these little things that you guys are using. I'm totally new to this. Thank you so much for signing up. And Lisa, welcome to our Rabbit membership. I hope we have some fun today. Well, not on this subject, but upon membership. So shout out to everyone else out there in the bushes. And thank you again for liking this live. Now, guys, I had to jump on this situation. Oh, here we go. Marcella, welcome to the membership. And then we have Read This. Welcome to the membership as well. Thank you guys again. Somebody gotta remind me to get a rabbit twerk. Maybe we'll just do one overall. And let me see. Oh, you don't see your emojis. Uh-oh. I wonder. We got to check that out. Let me check that out later on. Let's do this, okay? Just to welcome our new members. Awesome, awesome. Thank you guys. Thank you again. So, we got to jump on this situation. Let me tell you guys why, okay? I don't know if you guys have been following this Gabby Petito, Brian Laundrie case. Okay, I've been kind of listening to it in the backgrounds, and I don't know if you guys realize that something very important has developed um, in terms of what happened in Moab, Utah, with the domestic violence, or they're not even calling it that, whatever domestic dispute they had, and lack of charges. Okay, so we're going to look into that. We're also going to look into the full warrant because we did get a copy of it. There are some things here, and if you haven't been following, it's okay because we also got a really nice little timeline that is going to help everybody kind of jump in right away and not be so confused and left behind. Thank you. Unapologetically Goddess. I'm going to check into that and see why you don't have one. Let me follow up with you on that, okay? Everybody else who's not seeing one, let me see what's up with that. Okay, let's look at this timeline. So we have a little timeline here. We were able to gather. If you haven't been following this case, this is a couple that had been travel vlogging. Okay, they have a YouTube channel actually, and the crazy part is that if you guys are interested in looking at that YouTube channel, it's available. Let me show you guys the name of it. You guys can head over there. It's a little bit like even watching it now, it's a little concerning to me because I feel like I wonder if there was something that we didn't get to see before this situation happened. If something would have been able to be prevented. This is the YouTube channel for them. Nomadic Static Van Life, beginning our van journey. I'm gonna put it on mute and just play a little bit because we don't want to strike on our channel. But they started this little intro, and this was in August, what, the 19th. 2029. This is them. Okay. This is them traveling and doing their thing. I'm watching this and kind of concerns me a little bit because, yeah, I mean, here we are a month later and just where we're at right now and everything that's happening. It's a little bit like, how did we get here? I don't know. It's a little surreal. Um, I don't know. So when I watch this, I just feel some type of way about it because they were traveling cross country, just them two in a van, all over the place. Thank you. Welcome to our channel membership. I'll do some twerking afterwards, okay? Um, and just you could see them as a happy couple. It's about a 7.5 minute video. Check it out. I put it on mute because we didn't want to get a strike here. It looks like this is what they did and they were into this type of stuff, okay? It very much concerned me because there's definitely heavy, you're editing the video very heavily. We don't know what's in between. It looks like a really good, happy couple, um, as we can see them. But again, editing, 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 editing. So when I saw that, I'm going to pause it and feel free to check them out. I'll make sure I put that information on the description box because I didn't initially. When I first saw that video, I was like, whoa, this is interesting. But this video right here is actually named on the search warrant. So that's another part that I thought, well, that's interesting. And we're going to look at that as well. Let's stop that right there. But let me show you this little timeline, okay, before we hop into this call. All right. So they've definitely been traveling everywhere. Okay. Where are we at present time is September 16th. That's where it stops. Utah police video, Petito family letter, and possible link to murder investigation. Okay. But one of the things that jumped out to me was the domestic dispute or argument that they had in Moab. We're going to listen to that call because that's really concerning and telling as to what happened. And we have the video from the officers. The video from the officers when they're kind of looking into this, I feel like that's going to be a huge thing and we're going to have some issues overall with that. Let me see if I can play this, remove this little picture here. Let's see. So are we welcome if we're not members? Absolutely. Yeah, Kat. I did welcome everybody, our subscribers, non-members. Absolutely. You are welcome here. I apologize if you feel like I didn't. But let me show you guys the call. Here we go.
Hi, can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hi, I'm calling. I'm right on the corner of Main Street by Moonflower, and we're driving by, and I'd like to report a domestic dispute. Florida with the white van, Florida license plate, white land, gentleman,
Where's
about
it at?
5'6", beard. They just drove off. They're going down Main Street. They made a right onto Main Street from Moonflower.
Or what were they doing?
Cooperative, but what'd you say?
What were they doing?
We drove by, and the gentleman was slapping the girl.
He was slapping her?
Yes, and then we stopped. They ran up and down the sidewalk. He proceeded to hit her, hopped in the car, and they drove off.
Grant County Sheriff's Office.
Were you able to get a description of the intoxication?
Hi, can you hear me, sir?
We're going to listen to it one more time. Did you guys hear the guy say he was slapping her? Okay? Slapping her. So then come to my surprise when I'm listening to this call and then I'm watching the video from the officer, the body cam. This is going to be very telling and somebody's going to get into something in this situation. Let's play it again.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hi, I'm calling. I'm right on the corner of Main Street by Moonflower, and we're driving by, and I'd like to report a domestic dispute. Florida with the white van, Florida license plate, white land, gentleman,
Where's
about
it at?
5'6", beard. They just drove off. They're going down Main Street. They made a right onto Main Street from Moonflower.
Or what were they doing?
Cooperative, but what'd you say?
What were they doing?
We drove by, and the gentleman was slapping the girl.
He was slapping her?
Yes, and then we stopped. They ran up and down the sidewalk. He proceeded to hit her, hopped in the car, and they drove off.
Grant County Sheriff's Office.
So he says he's slapping her. The guy, what is it? The dispatcher repeats what he said, and then he proceeded to hit her. Everybody heard that correctly? That part was like, okay. Well, to my surprise, and I'm not, trying to dispute what happened in the body cam. We're going to look into that a little bit. But what concerns me is that, and I will tell you that these officers have a really hard job, not only to stop a situation from happening, but also to try to decipher how the law applies at that moment, right? Where they're in the middle of the road, okay? And then at the same time, who do you call? What do you do? What is the residence? Ideally, if you live in a home and there's a situation happening, someone would leave. They had to figure that situation out on their own out there. So yeah, it is a very disturbing situation because it wasn't what is it afterwards? They found her body afterwards. So I'm a little disturbed by that. I'm going to stop sharing this little clip and I'm going to show you guys what the warrant says before we go to the body cam, okay? Now let's remove this real quick. And shout out to everyone that has joined us, everyone in the bushes, our subscribers, our new members, our members, of course, and everyone else that is supporting us out there. We appreciate you for joining us today. Let's look at this warrant, okay? Because I got the full warrant and I'm a little like, whoa, what are they looking for? Right? You never know. Um, exactly. But let's look at this. And this is the 9-page official warrant. Okay. It's redacted in terms of like phone numbers and stuff like that that they don't want to release. But you will see this around floating around, but not to the full extent that we have it because we have the full 9 pages here. Here it is from the state of Florida, 12th Judicial Circuit. Okay, signed and sealed and everything. It just tells them exactly what they're looking for. They're looking for anything electronic, okay? Because the man has, Brian, meaning has done disappeared and stopped talking to anybody. That's fine. So they're going to go out there and look for their evidence. Even if he was talking, they'd still go out there and look, right? That shouldn't be a surprise to us. But I'm going to go down here because I like the warrant in itself says a lot about what exactly is happening. So we're going to start by probable cause. Okay, and it is believed that the above named crime has been committed and the evidence may be discovered for the following reasons. Okay, we're going to jump into number 2. The subject, Gabriela Verona Petito, and her boyfriend, Brian Laundrie, left from New York State sometime mid-June 2021 for a vacation to Utah, traveling a variety of national parks along the way. While they were on this trip, they documented some of their events on a YouTube video called Van Life, beginning our van life journey. And again, you guys can watch that full video on her channel. Okay, they have a lot of travel videos there. It's a little bit like even myself watching it, I felt some type of way because knowing what happened afterwards and where we're at right now, it's just very sad situation. Okay, number 3. During the trip, the subject sent multiple text messages, had many talks with her mother, Nicole Schmidt, via cell phone communication using her subscriber number. During these conversations, these appeared to be more and more tension between her and Laundrie. Okay. And then we have August 12th. A report was generated by Moab City Police Department. Moab, Utah referenced a domestic disturbance between the subject and Laundrie. And the officer wrote, after evaluating the totality of the circumstances, I do not believe the situation escalated to the level of a domestic assault as much as that of a mental health crisis. That right there is going to be very concerning, okay? And I'll tell you guys why. But a mental health crisis. Robin stated that the subject was having a severe case of anxiety, per the subject's testimony on the scene. Laundrie also told the responding officers that he had concerns about the subject because her anxiety had worsened during the extended trip. So anxiety is getting worse. And you guys will hear all this information as it's being said. I'm kind of also wondering if there's any medication that one or the other was taking to treat this, because when you hear them talking, they bleep that information out. They don't want to release that. All right, so again, here we go. Number 5, on the 27th of August, the subject, Nicole Schmidt, the subject's mother, Nicole Schmidt, received an odd text from the subject. The text messages read, "Can you help Stan? I just keep getting his voicemails and missed calls." The reference to Stan was regarding her grandfather, but per the mother, she never called him Stan. The mother was concerned that something was wrong with her daughter. So it looks like Gabby would call her grandfather, not Stan. So then who's calling him Stan on Gabby's phone? That's concerning. Number 6, this was the last communication anyone had with this subject. Her cell phone was no longer operational and she stopped posting anything on social media about her road trip. Per her family, this was not normal behavior for the subject. They became worried for her. Right. I would be too, because they're trying to document this whole trip, right? They should be available to speak. On September 11, 2021, the subject was entered as a missing person by the Suffolk County Police Department in New York, based on the reports from the Moab City Police report. It appeared that the subject is also in danger due to mental health concerns. That's when I said, okay, so Gabby had some mental health concerns, anxiety. I wonder, medication wise, what it was. Clearly, it wasn't enough to just say, well, she can't go on a road trip along the United States, right? A decision was made for her to do that. She made her own decision, I guess, being a 22-year-old, right? September 11th, the subject's van, which is a white Ford Transit bearing Florida tags, was located. So there's an address where the van was located. Per the license plate reader, um, the exit of Interstate 75, that vehicle entered the city of Northport on September 1st, 2021 at approximately 10:26 a.m. So Brian Landry's family stated that the subject was not at the residence. They did not know her whereabouts. They refused to allow Brian to speak with law enforcement and directed the officers on scene to speak with their attorney. Now, this attorney is going to give an official statement for the family tomorrow. Okay. This attorney is going to give an official statement for the family tomorrow. But this attorney told a lot of the media, don't expect any bombshells. I don't know what the hell that means, whether it means that they don't know where he's at. Okay, so don't expect anything. Or if that means that that's all they're going to reiterate. We don't know where he's at. He's gone. This is what we last heard. We really don't know what's going to be said. So, based on the totality of the circumstances related to the subject's mental health, I believe there's probable cause to believe that the subject is unable to care for herself due to the increased anxiety. Due to this behavior, our concerns for her welfare have reached the exigent level. Her cell phone has been turned off for 15 days, and there has been no sighting of her since August 27th. Whew, okay. So then from there on out, it goes to number 11, which is September 14th. At approximately 7 p.m., a signed search warrant was executed for the subject's vehicle. Within the subject's vehicle, the crime scene technician located a black Western Digital external hard drive with serial number, and there's a serial number and product. The computer external storage is potentially the subject's property, and due to that, it may contain viable digital forensics data that could assist in locating or assist in the location of said missing endangered subject. Okay, so all of this that they're collecting is all the evidence on his computer, files, anything necessary basically to figure out, well, exactly what's going on, right? The autopsy, I believe, would be performed, or they have performed, but something is being released tomorrow to address some of this. And so we'll probably be able to hear a little bit more about it. But this, I don't know, this is very telling, I think, in terms of like what they're looking for. Even in the video that you watch, I mean, her editing skills are great. I wonder, was there anything that happened that she had to edit out that she was trying to, remove out of that, to put her YouTube video up? That does happen, right? We remove things out of YouTube videos during the editing process. Now I'm going to show you guys the other body cam interaction. And I actually did put it on, I believe it was 1.5 speed. Yeah, it's 1.5 speed because it is a very lengthy body cam video. Nothing that is like, you'll see them go back and forth. But one of the things, especially on the first 21st minutes, there are marks that they're noticing. There are cuts that they're noticing. Something happened between them. Matter of fact, when the officer, you'll see them pull them over, they hit a curve in with the car, so they got pulled over. Okay, now that was the call. You guys remember what the caller said? He said he had slapped her, and then he proceeded to hit her. That's what I heard. Let me show you guys the rest of this here.
Driver is showing some obscure driving, possibly intoxicated. Currently doing 45 miles an hour. Zone through here is 25. Oh, subject says to hit the curb. Correction, speed limit is 15. I'm about 3/4 of a mile into the Arches, just before the gate. Do you want to place your vehicle into park and go ahead and turn it off for me? No, park? Oh, it is in park. Yeah. Okay, turn off your engine. Go ahead and set your keys on the dashboard. All right. What's your guys' names?
Gabby.
Gabby, Brian. Okay. What's going on? How come you're crying?
I'm sorry, we've just been fighting this morning. Some personal issues.
It was a long day. We were camping yesterday, and camping got supplies and stuff. I'm sorry I hit the bump there.
I was distracting him from driving. I'm sorry.
Can I get you to step out of the vehicle for me, man?
Yeah.
Just hang tight right there. Do you mind if I take your keys and just put them on your hood?
I'm so
Thank
sorry.
you. Oh, no, you're fine. I'm going to go ahead and close your door. I'm just over here. SO229. I have the female that from the passenger seat separated from the male. Keys are on the hood. You want something else?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just some days I have really bad OCD, and I was just cleaning and straightening up the back of the van before, and I was apologizing to him and saying, I'm sorry that I'm so mean, because sometimes I have OCD and sometimes I get really frustrated. Not like mean towards him. I just like, I guess my vibe was like, I am like in a bad mood. And I was just saying, I'm sorry if I'm in a bad mood. I've just been really stressed. I had so much work I was doing on my computer this morning.
What do you do for a living?
Well, I used to work at an organic juice bar, but I just quit my job. I was a nutritionist. That's what that's my job.
Cool.
And I just quit my job to travel across the country, and I'm trying to start a blog. And have a blog stuff. So I've been building my website. So I've been really stressed, and he doesn't really believe that I could do any of it. So that's kind of been like a, I don't know. He's like, I don't know. We've just been fighting all morning, and he wouldn't let me in the car before. And then
Why wouldn't you let you in the car? Because
told me
you're
I
OCD?
needed to calm down. Yeah, but I'm perfectly calm. I'm calm all the time, and he really stresses me out. And this is a rough morning.
Well,
I'm going to stop right here. You know, when he pulled her over, one thing I heard, it really jumped out at me. He said, she said, I was distracting him when, like, something that she said kind of really concerned me. She said, I was distracting him, right? So right now she's self-disclosing her OCD behavior. Okay. Now I don't have OCD. I mean, I can't really say that I can speak to medication that people would take. I know what anxiety is. I know that for me, it's something that is triggered by specific events. It might be a little bit different. But one thing she said in there was that she had distracted him and she apologized to the officer. Yes, and let me put that up here. Thank you so much. By the way, thank you so much for Jilly for the super sticker and the cash up. I appreciate you, lady, for that. A trigger warning, right? Because you're listening to her talk, and yes, it is a little bit like in a higher speed. Part of it is because they're going through kind of everything that's happening. I'm gonna see if I can change it. Let's see if we can maybe just change it to that 1.25, and if that works a little bit better for everyone. It's a very lengthy video. That's the thing that I have with this, and we'll probably skip through certain parts, but one thing I'm like, where did we miss the issue here? Because the caller said that she had been hit. And this is going to be very important. And this video will probably not be available anymore. I wouldn't be surprised if they pull this video out simply because they're going to want this for evidence. They're going to want to seal some of this information. I wouldn't be surprised if they do that, just how things are. Let me go ahead and hit play on this.
why don't we do this? Why don't I sit you down in the back seat of my car? You're not in any trouble, okay? I'm not going to be putting handcuffs on you. You obviously don't have any weapons. I'm going to get you into the air conditioning, let you take a breath, relax a little bit, and then I'll come back and talk to you in a few minutes, okay?
Okay.
All right. Like I said, you're not in any trouble. So just go ahead and take a seat. What's that? Yeah, I just spoke to her. So, you want to do me a favor? Let's go ahead and get you to step out of the vehicle, alrighty? Come on over here. You're not in any trouble right now. So, tell me what's going on.
She just gets worked up sometimes, and I try and really distance myself from her. So like I lock the car and I walk away from her. What happened this morning is that she's trying to start up like her own website blog and everything. So I give her time. And we really had a nice morning with everything, and she just worked up because we were trying to get going and get our day going because we want to go like arches or something like that.
Okay. Do you want to tell me about those scratches on your face?
She had a cell phone in her hand. That's why I was pushing her away. Because she wanted. I like the keys so I could walk away. I said, let's just take a breather and let's not go anywhere. Let's just calm down for a minute. Worked up, and then she had her phone trying to get the keys like that way. I was just trying to. I know I shouldn't push, but I was just trying to push her away to go. Let's just take a minute, step back, and breathe. And we see if she got me with her phone.
Can I see your hand? Oh, you got a mark right here.
Oh, that's from a while.
from a wire? Yeah. You want to tell me about hitting that curb?
Hitting the curb with her grabbing the wheel.
She grabbed the wheel?
Yeah. She said, I can't believe you're getting pulled over, and she grabbed the wheel.
What about the speed? Did you take over the...
No, I
the pedal on you?
If I was going fast, I'm sorry. No, it's probably just the moment of, like, I'm still shaking out. The adrenaline, seeing the lights flashing up, and then her grabbing the wheel. So if I sped up, I'm sorry about that. Or if I was speeding beforehand, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, it took quite a bit to catch up to you. So,
yeah. I'm sorry about that. We're just going into the park again to get water because we have a 6-gallon water container to fill up, so we're just grabbing one for the hike. Okay. And I was trying to keep everything calm and quiet because there's plans still to go for a hike, but it's good. Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
Of course. Do me a favor. You want to go ahead and just take a seat right over here on the floor for me?
And if I was speeding, I'm sorry.
You don't have anything in the pocket or anything like that, do you?
Yeah, nope.
Just the wallet? All right. And then, do you mind lifting your shirt so I can check your weight? I got it. Turn around for me real quick. Perfect. I just want to make sure. That's all, man. Go ahead, do me a favor. Take a seat, all right? Oh, do you have your ID on you?
In the car. If you want to come with me?
No, we'll just do this. Just go ahead and take a seat.
You come with me, I'll give you a seat.
All right, you're fine. What's the first name?
Brian.
Brian? Is that right spelling?
B-R-I-N, yeah, and L-A-U-N.
And then your last name?
L-A-U-N.
L-A-U-N.
D-R-I-E.
D-R-I-E?
Yep.
Laundrie? Mm-hmm. Okay. What's your date of birth, Brian?
They black out that area, by the way. You'll hear some blanks, date of birth, stuff like that. They intentionally take that out. Even when they ask them about the medication part. So someone, Eileen, shout out to you because I think this is a very important point you said. She said, did I hear it correctly? Sometimes I have OCD, as if she doesn't have the actual disorder, but has tendencies. Yes, and I would agree. This is very hard to watch. So that's a very important point, I think, right? When she talks about the OCD, she talks about, I have OCD. There are things, this is a road trip, right? I don't know if you guys have ever taken a road trip. Now they're taking a road trip across country, a van life. Remember, that's the name of the video. I would imagine that somebody like who has OCD tendencies and or has OCD in general, this would be a very hard thing for them to deal with, right? Close pace, you're dealing with one person, the person's driving. I'm just thinking out loud. Now, you got to think back about that dispatch call. Think at the same time the officer saw like a scratch and he said he got it from a wire. But the dispatch caller said what? That he had slapped her and struck her. Okay, something to that effect. And we'll go back and just to make sure I'm not making this up. That he'd seen somebody slap her. He saw her slap the girl. Okay, saw her slap the girl. Now, what I'm waiting for is to somebody, to admit to it. I'm waiting for somebody to say, yeah, this is what happened. Well, let's continue and watch.
I'll say crisscross applesauce. Can I just do the shades to the malt? That's okay. I'll give you some shade. Sound good?
All right, just hang tight for me. SO229. I need a 29 name and date of birth. First name Brian, layman spellings, last name Laundrie, Lima Alpha Uniform, November, Delta, Romeo, India. Bravo, Romeo, India, Alpha, November.
And then what? His reaction was to do what?
It's gonna be out of Florida.
He just grabbed it. Did he hit you though? I mean, it's okay if you're saying you hit him. I understand if he hit you, but we want to listen if he actually hit you. Because where did he hit you? Don't worry. Be honest. He slapped your face or what? Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. So has he been drinking? What was up with his driving? I thought said he hit a curb. While you're driving? While he was driving, you were hitting him?
He asked her, did you guys hear that? He asked her if he slapped her. What did she say? I didn't even hear her say yes or no. I completely heard her say something about there being a mark or like I didn't even hear her say, yes, he slapped me, or no, he didn't slap me. That is such a huge piece of information, given that the guy that called in the call, right? That piece right there is like very telling about this whole situation, right? So I'm just kind of wondering, well, had he slapped her and she had said yes, would this have been a different situation? Yeah, Mel, I think that's why he grabbed her face or something, like she was showed what she did. That's right. So like something about grabbing her, but he didn't answer about the slap. She didn't answer about the slapping. That's what I heard. That's what I heard. And I could be wrong.
Like, come on, I like kind of like.
Did you already tell him all this?
I didn't get that far into
Okay,
it. She was hyperventilating.
She's saying that they don't drink, but at the point when you lit them up,
You don't drink or anything. I was yelling at him, and then when he started doing like that, I like kind of punched his arm, like,
she's saying, well, I hit the curb. You said it was Gabby? I'm sorry, I remember that. It was Gabby?
Yeah.
Try to meditate stuff? You tend to have a lot of anxiety and stress?
I have a lot of anxiety.
And what's his name? Is it Brian? Is he usually pretty patient with you?
Yeah, but it just makes me upset. I know that he definitely gets frustrated with me a lot.
Way of taking my anxiety and bringing it down, but my ex-wife, I'm just sharing, I know it's a little personal, but help you understand, we would feed off each other's anxiety and spiral, you know what I mean? And it doesn't matter how much I loved her. It may be bad for your soul, the same. I'm not talking about you with your life, but if you know you have anxiety, look at the situations you can get in, you know what I mean? And we're not here to be mean to you or anything. Well, you know, they never did the first time, and then it usually, we'll go see what Brian's saying, but I think you've heard everything now from.
Quick question. You said you were hitting him in the arm. Did you grab the steering wheel?
No, I didn't.
You did not touch
I
the
didn't
steering
touch the steering wheel, but only for like a second, because I just saw the lights come on, and it was more just like, you're an idiot. Like, you know.
But did you grab the steering wheel and like
No.
swerve or anything like that?
No. I didn't touch the steering wheel at all.
I'm gonna go ahead and close this door again. Do you have enough air back here, or do you want me to kick it up some more?
Do you have any water?
I will see if I can find some.
Okay, no worries. Thank you.
You wouldn't have to have any water, would you? Can I get a bottle?
Did you already give a statement to this officer? I got this gentleman here. Yeah. This gentleman noticed that you had some marks on your neck. Yeah. And she's got marks on her too.
Thank you so much. Don't tell me, tell the people for the super sticker. Guys, did you guys notice how the officer said, I noticed you have some marks on you? And then also said she has some marks on her too. So I'm just kind of wondering if we're noticing the marks, okay? Because the way in which some of the laws are written with domestic violence is sometimes the witness or the victim doesn't always have to cooperate. It's intentionally done that way because there have been times where the victim, no matter what you do to help them out and everything, they remove those charges and they allow the man to go free. Here, the officer saying, I notice you got some marks, and she's got some marks as well. And then notice how she has also said that she didn't grab the wheel. He said she grabbed the wheel, right? And she said she did it. So who grabbed the wheel? Somebody hit the curve, right? She had hit him. You're an idiot. Okay, I don't know if that meant that she hit him in the face or in the arm or what. It didn't even say that. This is the part that I said, oh man, I'm just trying to figure out some of the factors that were boiling here, that kind of just makes me feel like did they allow them to go too quickly, right? To where now we're in this situation. I don't want to blame anybody, don't get me wrong. I just feel like I wonder if there was all these signs here and we just didn't pick up on it. Now, mind you, there's not a mental health professional right there to kind of assess that. And I feel like that is very, very important when it comes to domestic violence. You're in the middle of the road, in the middle of nowhere. I don't know if you can just get an evaluator that can come in there and really evaluate both people at the same time. But I feel like we missed the mark here right now. Now he's going to start, the officer's going to talk about the marks and stuff like that. We're going to play it right now.
That will all happen. I know you probably already told the story. This officer's probably going to be the one handling the whole case. You want to listen to what he has to say, and then you tell him what happened. We don't mind. Start at the beginning for me, over.
Start at the beginning. Both. I don't know if it's too far back, but we've been in BLM land for the past week or so, traveling around, and the flies here are pretty intense. So the flies have definitely been getting to her, and then my feet are dirty and everything. So I think that our little squabble started because you're hanging out at the coffee shop, and when I got back to the van, there was some dirt and stuff in the van, and I moved our food around, so it was a little disorganized. So she gets a little.
Sorry about that. It's okay. Do you need any water?
That's okay.
It's hot out here.
I was saying we were going to get water because we ran out, but it's okay. No, sorry, I don't like plastic bottles. It's okay. Thank you. But we just had a little disagreement there. And the disagreement was just that she was getting a little worked up, and I was saying, "No, it's okay. Thank you so much."
As long as cool, that's good.
So it was just more disagreement, and I just wanted to.
What was the disagreement about?
It was. I wouldn't even call it disagreement. It was just that I'm dirty and I can't stand being dirty. Like I got 30 feet, I got sand on my flip flops and stuff like that. It was that we were at the coffee shop for so long because we were there from 9 to 3. So yeah, there's a few little things, little relationship. I don't know if your relationship is true.
I've been married for over 5 years now. So.
There's a lot of little things. And we weren't physical before the point where I said, all right, let's just take a breather and like walk away for a minute. I'll lock the van up and I'll go for a walk this way, and you can go walk that way and block. You know, there's that moonflower. Right, well. Yeah, nice areas. You can go either way. It's all shaded. So let's go for a little walk and breather. Come back. It's breathing. Yeah, we're happy with it. But then I'm not upset with her. She got a little worked up, and she had her phone in her hand and her keys and everything. And she wanted, not her keys, like her rings, phone. And I was holding on to the keys because I didn't want to go anywhere. And my big fear is, I don't have my phone. I don't have a phone. So she goes off without me. But all right, I'm on my own. So I was saying, let's just go for a walk, and she was trying to get the keys for me. So I just go, just wait, back up, and that's when she hit me. And I didn't get, I don't want to push you, but I didn't get overtly physical. I was just trying to keep her away and not get hit. And then I got really loud, and that's probably everyone's attention where I was going, back up, get away, just give me a phone.
Okay, so you said you pushed her to create some distance, obviously, right? What happened after that? What got the scratches on your eye?
The phone.
So you pushed her and she hit you?
She was, it wasn't like a push, and she jumped on me. She was already, I don't know, she was already swinging, and I was a lot of angles, a lot of nails, a lot of things.
Yeah, you got 3 scratches on your neck. You got one on the left side of your neck. You got one in the face here, and you got 4 below the bleeding over there. So just try to looks like 2 hands. Do you mind lifting up your right sleeve for me? I'm curious about something.
Oh, okay. It's a little bit of nails. I suppose fingernails, but I'm not complaining. About
Is it bruised or tender or anything like that?
No. Okay. I'm fine, and I love Gabby. I hope she doesn't have too many complaints about me. I'm just, I feel bad I think it's so public. I was just trying to be loud. So this is, try to make her calm down and be like, look, everyone's watching. I'm like, stop this.
Thanks, iPhone. I got a quick question for you, right? Do you take any medications or anything like that? You don't take any medications or anything?
That little escalation situation says a lot, I think. So now he talks about on him scratches and all that, right? And also just kind of the back and forth. That's why he had scratches. This is what he's saying. Okay, this is from his own mouth and words. So I just kind of wonder. All right, so that wasn't enough to kind of really look at the situation maybe a little bit different. Even if Gabby was escalated, right? Even let's just say that she was the aggressor. What I got from Gabby's body language and even her talking about her taking fault initially, oh, I distracted him, was that she was willing to conceal everything that's going on. It's a little bit unfortunate because what the caller said was very telling. It seemed like he had hit her. He had hit her. Now, I don't know if he had hit her right then and there. I don't know. But at the same time, I'm just thinking in my head, this interaction right here is very telling, and he looks very nervous. I mean, and I would be nervous too, right? Like, don't get me wrong, but he just looks very nervous to me. Very, very nervous. Yeah, and Caroline, you just said it perfectly. There's physical evidence of an assault. They both should have been taken in. Whether he had marks or she had marks, they both should have been taken in, right? They both should have been taken in.
Like that. Are you normally just kind of like hyper?
Do I see my heart rate up? Whenever the lights flash on, it gets your heart rate up. But see,
Trust me, it does me too, and I'm the one that it gets me going.
You probably can say, hey, buddy, whenever somebody walks up.
So, okay. Yeah, do you know if she takes anything?
She's crazy. No, I don't think so. No, none that I know of.
Real fast, can I get your first name?
Gabrielle.
Gabrielle, how do you spell that?
R-I-E-L-L.
Your last name? B-E-T? Key.
M-E-T-I-C.
I see. Oh. You guys both live in Florida, right? Or that's where you guys come from?
My license is Florida right now, but I'm from Florida.
So that's where you have it out of currently. That's what it's 29. I need a 29. I need a date birth. First name Gabrielle, Golf, Alpha, Bravo, Romeo, India, Echo, Lima, Lima, Echo. Last name Petito, Papa, Echo, Tango, India, Charlie, Oscar. It's gonna be Florida. We're just kind of hanging tight for a minute. All right.
Florida, yeah, was our last guess. Still get down there. Four to 5 months out. 0 out of 5. What was the determinant? Was the thing that's moving on the ice? We're going to Salt Lake. So her grandmother's best friend lives in Portland. We stayed there. 2 years ago, we did a one shot to the trip. We loved it. We did Nissan Sentra. So like a tiny little car. So I was like, let's do it better. Let's get a big van. Big tiny van. But I said, let's try to do a little better. And it's going to be great so far, for sure. But you were going over to Portland, and I don't know if you're probably more familiar with Wolfing. Have you ever heard of that? WWOOFING.
Yeah.
How'd you got?
I'm from California originally.
Oh, yeah.
So, and part of my job, I dealt with employees that were from all across the United States. And
Thank you so much for the super chat, Natalie. Guys, okay. You know what my problem is too is that so the officers when they talk like and I don't want to take away. I think that this is a very hard job to do. There is a lot of conversation that happens and I don't know if that's just because they're trying to make him feel more comfortable. And I want to point something out that Articulate said that I don't know if a lot of people caught. When he's talking about the scratches on his back, he's saying he's not complaining about those because he was referring to those were intimate ones. Okay. So there have been scratches on his back. Kind of makes me wonder how often this domestic stuff was going on between them, especially given that they've been like together this whole time. Okay. The other thing too is that the officers, both they did it with Gabby, anxiety, like finding a way in which they make conversation to relate to the situation. I very much agree that there's a time and place for that, right? But what I'm feeling right now is that while they're doing this, they're kind of missing key points, such as those intimate scratches. That seems to me very hard to kind of even not get tunnel vision, which is a term that a lot of police officers use, investigators, when they're looking into things. How do you not get tunnel vision? Well, stop relating because not every 5-year marriage is the same as someone else. That's the piece. And I learned this from a professor actually who told me sometimes you have to stop relating to the situation that's happening, take yourself out, whatever you have to do to just hear the information and the facts, because otherwise you will get tunnel vision from what is going on. And I think this is what's happening right now.
Washington, Oregon, California, Nevada, everything you can think of on your left and right street. I know most of them.
It's worldwide opportunities on organic farms. It's like a volunteer working type of situation where you can work on organic farms. So that's our goal once we get over to Washington. So we'll do that in Washington, then down to Oregon, and down to California. What part of California is that?
I'm from a town just outside Sequoia National Park.
It's been a good time.
You're going to be going through there?
We'll get good in the way backwards.
Right. But no, it wasn't too bad at all.
One of the two witnesses, and I reported it. You want me to tell you what he said? Yeah. Real quick. Do you mind hanging with him for a minute? So, he said that he never saw the male strike the female. He saw the male trying to lock her out of the vehicle. She even told us that he was trying to lock her out, tell her to go take a walk, so that she was trying to get in. She eventually couldn't get in and actually clawed her way in through the driver's door. He says, I don't understand why she's doing that. Well, I think it's because it's the only door that wasn't locked that she could get through. She's trying to get in over him. He's trying to disengage from her. I guess he hung her backpack on the back probably so she'd have her shit, so that he didn't have to engage with her. Everything she's saying is the same thing. I haven't heard what he said, but if that's what he said, it's also what the witness is saying. The witness says, I never saw him hit her. I saw him shove her, but I couldn't tell you if it was an aggression against her or a defense against her, as far as her, being the aggressor. So at this point, unless the guy's screaming that he needs to go to jail and did something to this girl, it sounds to me like she is the primary aggressor. Yeah. Now, the problem with her being the primary aggressor is in an instance of domestic assault, be it a male or be it a female, we shall arrest. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean they have to go to jail. We can do a citation if it meets one of three criteria, which one of them is making sure that they're not going to further risk each other's safety. But the problem with that is they live in the same vehicle.
That's what I was going to say. The other part of it is
there was actually an injury too to the victim, which is him.
Right, and I'm getting conflicting stories about why they hit the curb up here.
What did he say? Why he hit the curb?
Well, I watched it. This is what I saw first. Saw him cross the double yellow. I was doing 42 miles an hour. I was, I don't know, probably 2 car lengths behind him, tapping my whales at him, trying to get his attention. They knew I was behind him. And then after he crossed the double yellow, he merged over into the right lane, and then out of nowhere, just boom, hit the curb.
So did he say why?
He said that she grabbed the wheel and turned it real hard. She said that she was hitting him in the arm. So
sounds legit. I mean, I'm sure if I'm driving and my arm's on the wheel and I'm getting hit in the arm, I'm probably pulling at the wheel. Yeah. And I'm sure it was a little of both. And usually the truth is somewhere between. He's probably trying not to say that he hit her because he probably doesn't want her charged with assault. Yeah.
No. Do you see, guys? So this is, look, I'm saying this job is pretty very, very hard, right? And they're trying to interpret what to make of the situation based on what they're seeing. But what are the facts? That's the piece that, and how does that then fit to the laws that they're talking about? What can they charge him with? At the same time, if you're getting conflicting stories, guess what? It's conflict. It's a conflicting story in general, meaning no one is telling you the truth. They're telling you what they feel like they want to tell you. Hence, why we shouldn't even go around in circles. Because let me tell you, what did the caller say in the dispatch?
Did he get a description of the intoxication?
Hi, can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hi, I'm calling. I'm right on the corner of Main Street by Moonflower, and we're driving by, and I'd like to report a domestic dispute. Florida with the white van.
A description of the...
Hi, I'm calling. I'm right on the corner of Main Street by Moonflower, and we're driving by, and I'd like to report a domestic dispute. Florida with the white van, Florida license plate, white land, gentleman,
Where's it at?
5'6" beard. They just drove off. They're going down Main Street. They made a right onto Main Street from Moonflower.
Or what were they doing?
Cooperative, but what do you say?
What were they doing?
We drove by, and the gentleman was slapping the girl.
He was slapping her?
Yes, and then we stopped. They ran up and down the sidewalk. He proceeded to hit her, hopped in the car, and they drove off.
Grant County Sheriff's Office.
So based on that, right? This is what I'm saying. It appeared that he hit her. That's what the caller is saying. This is the person that made the call to 911. And so then he struck her. It didn't stop there. It looks like there were some people that saw what happened. But based on the caller, he said that he had hit her. So you have one person that's saying something different than what the other witnesses are saying. This is what I'm saying. It's not really adding up. And so even their statements in terms of what happened, and even the callers, nothing is adding up. And so when you have things that are conflicting, probably the safest thing to do is, you know what? Bring them all in. Bring them all in. Because guess what? What else are you going to do in this situation? I want to point out something that Mel said. A mistake a lot of us lady makes is putting our hands on men, and then it turns up bad, right? Men police officers, and not to make this about gender or whatnot, but at the same time, if you don't have anybody that's really trained in domestic violence, right? That's really trained in talking and really determining or assessing a crisis, it makes you wonder, well, all you have is what people said he should, two different things. And so then if you rely on the facts, then you have, okay, you have a situation in which maybe both of them struck each other. They shouldn't have been together. Maybe we should have just charged them both, let them go there, figure this out later on. They probably shouldn't have been together at all, right? I'm just thinking out loud. Now, I don't have the answers to it. This is where I'm going to say it's alleged. I'm just thinking of a different way to have approached the situation.
He probably would rather say she pulled the wheel than hit him. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, fortunately for her, we cannot treat, just because he's bigger and stronger, and even if he's not one of the best charges, we can't treat this differently than if it was a male and female violence. Yeah. And we're going to have to charge her. And we can do a citation if there's some arrangement that can be made to separate them. And then we have to let them know that there's no contact order in effect. Yeah. And we have to let him know the only way to drop it is to go into the police department during business hours and fill out a waiver, which, by the way, what's today? Thursday? So it won't be till tomorrow. I know they're till noon, I think. Yeah. Which I'm sure he's going to want to drop it.
Well, the other part of it is they said that they've been on 4 or 5 months that they've been living out of this van together.
Well, this is really bad news. Let's talk to him first. Right?
Yeah.
Did you ask me to take pictures of him?
No, I haven't done any of that yet.
Ryan, unfortunately, in the state of Utah, we don't have discretion on some things. Like, for example, if I pull you over for speed and I want to give you a warning, you can do that because it's under Class A, it's Class B or under. If I want to give you one, it's all kinds of stuff I can. But there's a few things I can't. Like when I say I, please, I'm not trying to. One of the things that the state legislature doesn't give us discretion on is charges when it comes to domestic assault. And it sounds like you guys are living together, so you meet the statutes for domestic partners. And you do have injury, and both an independent witness, probably the next one we're going to talk to as well, which we haven't talked to yet, the one we did talk to, and your own companion have made it clear that she was the primary aggressor, and that she was striking you and you just received injuries. You haven't admitted to striking her, she has not admitted to striking her, the witness did not see you strike her. So at this point, you're the victim of domestic assault, and even if you didn't want to pursue this, you don't have a choice. The best thing we can do to not, the law says we have to charge her, doesn't say we have to put her in jail. Okay, but it also says we have to separate, there's no contact order, and we have to put her in jail if we cannot separate. And there's no problem here, you guys can't afford living in bad thing. How are we supposed to separate her? Now, I don't want to take this small 21 issue. We have a 22-year-old blonde hair, you could definitely defend yourself against, but at the same time, we can't say because you're a male and she's a female, we can't treat this different than if you were the male hitting her. Or we got you the same. Yeah, no. So she's kind of in a tough spot. So unless you have an idea about how she could not go to jail and be separated, you have a friends in town, somewhere she could stay. Tomorrow, if you want to, it's up to you. You can go to jail. You can't because you don't have a charge. Now tomorrow, if you wanted to be with her again tomorrow, we'll take your regular. If you want to be with her again tomorrow, because after 5, so office is closed, you can go to the police department, fill out a waiver, and drop the no contact order so you guys can still be together. Because she's going to have a court date online. So she's going to have to show her a court date online and answer. The prosecutor might drop it. She might say, for example, if you're not willing to pursue it, that's your decision.
Anyway, I don't say it definitely is. I'm not going to pursue it too much. My fiance, I love her. She's a problem. I'm sorry that I had to get so public. But so I want to get like the checklist of things I got to do to get rid of this. So
you don't want that. Well, she'll get a paper with a court date.
I don't get rid of it.
Well, the court date has to be attended in order for them to decide whether they need to continue to drop it. First, it's the initial appearance to say, are you who we think you are? Yes. Do you understand the charges involved against you? Yes or no? Yes or no, the answer. Do you have an attorney? Yes or no, do you need one? And then from there, she can ask to speak with the prosecutor. The prosecutor might contact you. Say, hey man, I see 110 pounds soaking wet, and you're a big strong guy, and we understand you're not even wanting to pursue this, but the cops have to call the statute. How you're, what, in the interest of you and justice for you, the victim, what do you think? And they can decide to still prosecute, or they can decide to drop it, or they can decide to give her a plea and make it kind of go away so she makes somehow. And that still does not eliminate the first court appearance. But she has to attend, which thankfully for you guys is going to be online. You don't have to, so if you're out of town, here's the thing, if you're out of town and she doesn't come into a court appearance online, they just have a driver's license, they just do a warrant for her. So she needs to play ball.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. And one of her team, me and her and her team, I'm sorry about all this, I apologize again. But so she's got her online court date, she's acknowledges she's her, and then she's got one for the.
Well, there's automatically right now, there's something called a no contact order in place.
Yeah,
from this point forward, until tomorrow, if you wish to drop it, you have to go to the 217 East Center Street, Laundrie Police Department, and you have to ask them you want to fill out a waiver, that you're requesting a waiving of the contact order, no contact order. No contact order means you cannot come in contact with you, you cannot talk to you, you cannot text you, you cannot go into any premises, you cannot occupy, you cannot go to your people. And until drop that or until court date, if you don't drop it, it's in effect until midnight on day 4. And then that gives you time to get protection for the long-term one if you want to use them. It sounds like you don't even want this one. So tomorrow, they open at 8, you go to the police department, you can file the waiver, they can remove it.
I want to point out something that Mikey G said, and I think this is a very important point. He's definitely given her strange behavior here, but hindsight is always 2020. Definitely agree. These cops were just trying to make sense of a situation and make their best judgment. Obviously, they made a mistake. I would agree. You have 3 officers. Hindsight 2020, right? I definitely agree that, and I'm not even arguing that. I think the only piece is this: is that they're looking for who is an aggressor. They're looking as to who they need to charge, okay? So she, again, I want to think about how Gabby was acting. Very apologetic. I'm sorry, this and that and the other. Very much how someone in a situation like that would be. Very apologetic about the situation. Very much self-reflective and even blaming of self. I think that that's how enmeshed she was in this situation with this person, right? And so I always kind of have to be careful about that because I feel like even victims will self-blame a lot. That's part of what they do until they can kind of get to a place where they don't do that anymore. They're able to reflect a little bit different. So I wanted to point that out in terms of the officer, and I also think that it's interesting that you have 3 trained officers, and I wonder if any of them were trained in these type of situations, right? This is a very unique call. Matter of fact, they say that at the very end of the video, where the officer tells Brian, hey, we don't get calls like this. This is the most action we get out here. So what does that tell me? That they probably don't see a lot of domestic disputes and or violence in the middle of the road, in the desert with the mountains. That this is just a situation in which they're just dealing as is. Hence, who knows what kind of training they have, right?
And you can say, hey, babe, where you at? Let's pick her up. Pick her up. Now, we're hoping not to put her in jail, but she doesn't have somewhere to go tonight. Be separate from you.
We're against officer now because of separation, right?
Yeah. So tell me this. Do you guys have enough money for like a hotel room or anything like that? Because what we could do is we'd cite her for this, and then I give her a ride over to whatever hotel you guys is choosing.
Pick her up tomorrow.
And on your way to go pick her up, you stop over there at the PD, sign the paperwork that they're requesting, and then you can go pick her up quite literally within minutes.
Unless you know someone else in town that's a friend, stay with you.
Yeah. Unfortunately not. I don't. I guess that.
Man, I sure hate to. I don't want her to go to jail.
Well, if she goes to jail, it's like that goes down somewhere instead of her going to the hotel. But if you get a citation.
So if she gets jailed, they'll book her. They'll take the fingerprints and go on the criminal history. And then if they don't convict her, then it will just show that it was dismissed. It was going to show her criminal history, but the charge was dismissed. If she found guilty, it'll show up that she's guilty. But the charge itself will show up on her criminal history until she gets expunged. Now, even if we give her a ticket, we're still going to take a fingerprint and it's still going to show up. Either way, it's going to show up. There's no way around the Class A. Or is this Class B?
This is Class B.
But they do require a fingerprint on it.
Yeah. Okay, so the other part is if you contact her or she contacts you, she can be charged with a Class A.
Well,
which is a little bit different, but it doesn't cost.
If you were to contact her and she responds to you, then she can get a new charge for violating. No contact order doesn't restrict you, it restricts her. So if you go talk to her and you find out and you're not in trouble, it should be trouble. So that all make sense?
No, I'm getting it.
It's a lot. Really quickly.
No, I'm getting it. I'm just trying to figure out a way.
You don't know anyone in town? You guys been around long?
No, I don't know anyone in town. She went.
I don't think CTA will take it with the aggressor.
No.
Did a winter shelter.
I'm curious.
You can find out. They said that
When you did the citation, like say she drove off you drive off in this car.
We could give you a ride somewhere.
Now, I know that they're seeing him as the victim, okay? But I just find it a really bad taste that they're making these decisions in front of him. Like, I find it, maybe it's because they're trying to decipher, does he have a place to stay? Can he stay outside of the van? Where would he go? I find that to be a very bad taste because it's almost like, I don't know, something about that doesn't land, even about the charges and how that's going to look in her record. We don't know. Obviously, things didn't end very well. However, I don't know, something about the situation really bothered me, and it still does, even looking at it now.
Then I got my backpack. That's for you. I got my backpack. You want to drive me to Delegate Art? Does she have a good driver's license?
This is gonna get through this license, yeah.
So if you people, yeah. Well, then you kind of be homeless for the night.
And I mean, I can't talk to her at all. Well, and I've got to do the thing, so I can't go camping.
You can tell her what it is that she needs to do to get through all this, and then let her know what the plan is.
Here's the problem, though. If we take you up to Delicate Arch, you're going to be hoofing it from Delicate Arch all the way down to Moab Center Street, so that you fill out that paperwork. Because if you're not there by noon tomorrow, you're going to be looking at Monday morning.
It's early on Friday.
Yeah, you'd be looking at Monday morning before you could actually see the right yet.
Again, we're not trying to make your life hard. This is really a statute. There's nothing to do about it. It's designed to think legal to domestic assault. Not everybody's the same. This is different than normal, but we have to treat everything the same. That's how it is.
Get more of them. Very little money we have for sure.
You want me to? I'll call CK then.
See if CK will take it tonight.
I'll see if they'll take you. CK figure it out.
CK will take me. Oh. Actually, CK will take him as a victim of domestic assault. CK will take him, and they'll help you tomorrow.
And you're like a block and a half away from the PTA.
Let's see if CK will take him because they actually put up. Actually, they didn't take a guy, but they got a hotel for a guy last time.
Yeah, I'll do that.
CK might get you a hotel. Now, what she does,
I'm happy sleeping outside and sleeping back.
No,
I think
CK will get you a hotel. If you want her to have a pen, you don't care. It's up to you.
Yes, this is Officer Roberts with Mountain City Police Department. How you doing this afternoon? Oh, not too bad, not too bad. So I just did a domestic, and the male is going to be our victim. Is there any way that you can help us set him up with a place to stay tonight?
I'm sorry. Can I get my key and make like a little bag? If you can grab me something?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Would you mind watching for me? Yeah, just if you don't mind doing it from over here, we don't want you to get hit in the road.
So they're calling in to set him up with a place for him to stay. They do set him up to a hotel. I'm not going to go through this whole video. It's very lengthy. I want to go to the part where they're talking to Gabby a little bit more. Part of it is because just seeing her mental state after she's calmed down a little bit is very telling from the situation. We're going to just skip over to that. And just so you guys can hear kind of what her thought process is.
Not to decide the thing. So, if the tables were turned and he was beating on you and you were shoving him, of course we're going to look at it like, oh, of course, she's defending herself away from you. But we're kind of looking the same way with him. We have to take both very different the bigger man he was walking on. The law doesn't say, hey, Officer Pratt, Officer Officer, you can treat people differently from getting another decision you can. Even if it makes no sense. We probably would not physically destroy the man.
This is Officer Roberts. Hey, how's it going? That's fine. I'm still going to be here for a few minutes dealing with this, so we have almost as much time as we need. So, do you mind if I take pictures of the injuries that you sustained? I know it's not super severe. I mean, you want me to call? I mean, I can call you in minutes if you want me to. You don't seem like you want to.
No, I'm good. If you want to take a photo, you can take a photo.
Yeah, I need to take pictures for my evidence because otherwise it's going to be your say, let's say, my say, and the court's going, oh, so I have to do this part of it already. So it's just going to be a couple of pictures.
Microphone, do you know?
Yeah,
where it is?
yeah,
We're not coming from
Yeah,
there.
just
If you don't mind me grabbing them.
I can grab it. It's like it's in a spot.
Why not go with you? Where are we going?
My face. Yeah. One of his ring fingers on his chest right there. And then you saw it.
yeah, I saw the videos. I was trying to build some consistency between the stories. And then you see your hand because that.
Hold on.
I know you said this is from a wire, but I'm going to take a picture of it just in case, and I'll document that you're saying that's from a wire, not from her. Just I want to document everything. And then your right arm. Do you have anything on the other arm, on your back, chest, anything like that? Let me get your neck real quick as well. You want to kind of tilt your head off the right and look up this way?
I don't know.
And then this is just for precautions. You mind lifting your shirt for me? We can go back here if you want some privacy. I want to, like I said, I want to do a very thorough job. I want to make sure that you don't have any additional injuries. You want to do that.
No.
You mind here, probably help me a little bit. the other side. So I talked to my contacts over there at SEARCH. People that can help with hotel rooms and stuff like that are out of the office at this time. But a couple people trying to get it all lined up because certain people have access to the corporate card, he doesn't. So we're trying to get everything lined up. This is going to take us a few minutes to get that.
I'm watching your guys' the chat, and you guys are really this is a really interesting situation. Thank you so much to the pressure cooker. Shout out to you for the $5 super chat. We will make sure that we do a rabbit twerk for all the financial support, our new members, and also all our subbies out there as well. I'm going to skip us to Gabby and her part because like I said, it's very telling after she calms down and whatnot. We're not going to go through this whole thing. That video is available though out there if you guys want to watch it, as well as the van life video for you guys to check out and just kind of look through that situation as well. This somebody had said this, and I definitely feel the same way. Is sometimes I wonder how the officers feels. I'm sure that they feel horrible, right? Whether it was a misjudgment or whatnot. But I think one thing we also have to consider is how are the laws set up? They're making a lot of decisions in that time frame, right? Not only are you pulling people over in the middle of nowhere, but you're interpreting the law. That takes a skill set. So to me, I think that this is a very unfortunate situation. And we honestly don't know yet. He is still a person of interest. It doesn't mean that he's, excuse me, he's they're looking for him. He's on the run. It definitely doesn't look well for him. Let's just say that. But it's a very tricky situation, and he's not cooperating, and he's on the run. I'm concerned about that, and I'm sure everybody in his family is as well. Let's look at Gabby's interaction and moving on. See if we can play that.
The only way you know is by asking. Right. Yeah, this is a very, very important question. How you answer this question is going to determine what happens next. But the only person who can answer this question is you. Think very hard before you answer the question. Do not quickly answer. Think very hard. When you slapped him those times, were you attempting to cause him physical pain or physical impairment? Was that what you were attempting to do to him? What were you attempting to do? What was the reason behind the slapping and stuff? What was it you were attempting to accomplish by slapping?
I was trying to get him to stop calling me something.
Well, it doesn't sound to me like she attempted to injure him. It's your call. It's 100% your call. I support you either way. I'll let you get back to your own parents, okay?
What did you guys think about that question? How would you have answered that? When you slapped him, were you attempting to do harm? I mean, is that like a trick? Like, is that a trick question? Because I don't know how. I mean, if I'm the aggressor, okay, and you're charged, and I could be charged with domestic violence, okay, how should I answer that? How would you guys answer that? Be honest. Yes, no, maybe. I plead the fifth. Yes. Thank you. Look at this. This is. Ooh, hold on. Where'd your comment go? Where did your comment go? I just saw something. Here you go. He's leading her. Right. Yeah, and I'm totally gonna put a pull on that. That question really disturbed me, guys. And I'm wondering what you guys think on the chat. Put like a rabbit on the chat if you would have said yes. Now I know I'm not gonna see any rabbits in there. Okay, if an officer is asking you, were you attempting to cause harm, physical bodily harm, when you hit somebody? Yeah, and thank you. He took photos of his body and scratches for the record. That's a problem. Now it's evidence against her. Did he take pictures of her? And they noticed some stuff on her too. They reported that. I don't know. That bothers me a lot. Anyways, that question really bothered me.
She openly admitted. She openly admitted to me earlier that she was striking him in the arm. Or he said that she was striking him in the arm. He said she was, and that's what caused him to hit the curb. She said that she got hurt. I might have this too. It's not a problem.
No, she said that too, but she was distracting him by hitting him, and then he probably looked at her, and that's why the mark found when he said she said it was her fault because she was distracted by hitting him. But she said she did try to hurt him, it wasn't malicious. She thought that he wasn't listening to her.
So assault is an attempt with unlawful force or violence to do bodily injury to another. The code for bodily injury, the definition says, bodily injury is infliction of pain or physical impairment or illness. So you can go. Now I'm recording, and society and the judges and everyone can judge me for this. I am looking at a 110-pound female and her fiance who have no means to be separated. He doesn't want to pursue it. She's not a threat to him, more than slight abrasions from her fingernails. I don't care if we use the actual letter of the law to not charge, but I also don't care because it literally does possibly make perfect sense to go full-on domestic assault and do the whole thing. This is your opportunity to make the decision. Let's.
She had scratches as well. Somebody asked if she had marks. She had scratches as well, by the way. It's muted because they're talking about confidential information. It's going to unmute here in a minute between their conversation. Just a heads up.
I'm making this decision. I'm going to side him. I'm going to go. Okay. You're the first.
Would you feel more comfortable handling that guy?
Yeah. Go ahead with that guy.
If you're more comfortable.
Well, it's 6 one way, half dozen the other. It's up to you. I mean, it's a headache whether I go left or it's a headache whether I go right.
Another option is to not charge them but separate for the night. If they find themselves together again, what is it to you? You separate them. You provide it for his safety. If he doesn't have enough sense to stay away and you got him separated, it's on him.
You can't do this in our head.
You can separate him and say, don't let us go off till tomorrow. If they don't let us go off and we hear about it, we'll hear about it.
We're camping in the park tonight. We're looking at.
And if there's some fighting going on, he already was Mr. Nice Guy. You already gave him a chance. What you can't do, by law, is separate someone and say, if we hear from you again, we're going to arrest you. Because then if one of them really needs help, they may not call police and get help. The law says you cannot, literally, you may not say, if we get more problems with you guys tonight, one of you is going to, you can't threaten like that. Right. It's true because if it stops, you want to call the police to get help. Does that make sense? Right. So, go full.
I've decided I'm not going to cite you for domestic violence battery, okay? It was only going to be a Class B misdemeanor. However, the domestic violence portion of it enhances it. Makes like a major pain in the butt, especially you're 22, right? So I'm choosing not to cite you today. So you are not going to be charged with it. All right? But this is what I do have to do. I am separating you tonight, okay? I want you guys both to be tonight away from each other, relax, breathe, crying, because there's no reason to be crying now, okay? I understand that this can feel like it's a nightmare, but you're coming out as the golden flower on top of you, okay? So, you're going to be taking the van tonight, and you're going to go somewhere else. I am going to get him lined up with a hotel room tonight. I want you guys to stay away from each other. For both of you guys' sake. From what you told me and what he told me, you guys have a bunch of little things that are building up, and finally the little string that you guys were tight walking on for tonight. Does that sound about right? So, I just want everybody to breathe, get a chance away from each other, go eat a meal, talk to your parents, whatever it is you got to do.
In here?
Just call this one. So, like I said, that's what I'm going to be doing tonight. Hold on. This is Officer Robbins. Up. So, I've got him a hotel room tonight. So, here in just a minute, I have to keep you guys separated. For right now, don't contact each other, don't wave at him, okay? Do you want me to say anything to him? Because I can do that for you. You want me to let him know that you love him and then you'll see him tomorrow and stuff like that? I can do that for you. Oh, he's bad about that too? Okay, I'll make sure that he has a phone charger, okay? And if I have anything else, please keep your your cell phone on so I can call you if I have any questions. All right?
Okay.
All right. So just kind of sit tight for me real fast. All right. All right, Brian. Couple things. Couple things. One, I got your hotel room tonight. But tonight,
don't do anything. Yeah.
She's passing on her love and saying goodnight and stuff like that. All that in the
So one thing that I learned, and we're going to come to the end of this right about now. I'm going to just try to scoot out as much as I can. One thing that I learned is they're not legally obligated to stay away from each other that day. Thank you so much, Ebony Eyes. Welcome to our membership program, and thank you so much again for the super sticker as well. I'll make sure we do some rabbit's works at the very end of our live today. So they weren't legally obligated to stay away from each other. Okay. So usually what happens is, there's a court order, you can't talk to each other, they talk to a judge. Somebody pointed out, I wonder if they had talked to an ADA. It doesn't look like they did, to consult them with the situation. I will definitely replay the call again, because somebody's at Mar Bear is asking me to, and I definitely will. My thing is this though, I worry about, the officer says to her, "You're coming out here like the golden flower." Okay. It's not going to go on your record. Okay. Okay. I get that. But I feel like, this minimization, right? And just trying to, I think I get the fact that she's 22. You don't want her to have a record, right? Totally. But really, had they both been charged and put away, because she had marks and he had marks. However, they didn't take pictures of her. And I wonder, had they taken pictures, maybe they might have seen something different. Maybe her markings weren't very visible. People don't bruise all the time very quickly. And so at the very end, when he's in the car, he tells her, or excuse me, the officer tells him, "We don't get calls like this very often. It's the most action we get." That tells me that there was a lack of like real training in domestic violence in this area. You had what? I think I saw a total of 4 officers, between even the female officer. Yeah, she's 23, or excuse me, 22 at the time of this incident, right? And so it's an unfortunate incident, and I hope that this is a way in which people can learn, right? Um, what trainings do we need out there for these officers? What are some of those signs? Do we have any mental health professionals that can come on site when we know it's an issue of domestic violence? Because I think that even that is a different type of assessment that a mental health professional can give versus, you know, all this other stuff. Yes, and definitely. However, Rabbit, someone should have been detained for domestic battery. Thank you. And I felt like there was a lot of bending of that because A, she's young. Both of them are young. And B, they also felt like it seems to me that they were trying to figure out, well, who's the aggressor? That's who you charge. They both had marks. They both could have been detained. Right? It's crazy. It's a little bit crazy, and I feel for them as well. I'm going to play that call one more time per request because I think it's very telling. You have witnesses that said different things. Hence, this is why it's hard to say this is the truth, right? Let's play that call one more time.
A description of the intoxication.
Hi, can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hi, I'm right on the corner of Main Street by Moonflower, and we're driving by, and I'd like to report a domestic dispute. Florida with the white van, Florida license plate, white van, gentleman,
Where's
about
it at?
5'6", beard. They just drove off. They're going down Main Street. They made a right onto Main Street from Moonflower.
Or what were they doing?
Cooperative, but what'd you say?
What were they doing?
We drove by, and the gentleman was slapping the girl.
He was slapping her?
Yes, and then we stopped. They ran up and down the sidewalk. He proceeded to hit her, hopped in the car, and they drove off.
Grant County Sheriff's Office.
Were you able to get a description of the intoxication?
Did you guys hear that? He was slapping her. He proceeded to hit her. So there was actual other people that saw what happened. It wasn't like, I mean, even the DV, the call to the officer, to the dispatch was very telling. He said he was slapping her. Yes, he was slapping her. So I have a feeling that a lot of people saw different things. Saying that somebody slapped somebody is very telling. in general. Carlina said this, and somebody else had pointed this out, is he didn't even get a ticket for the speeding. He went from 15 miles to what, 45, and hit the curb. I think that's what I heard. This situation is very telling, and I'm kind of wondering what you guys make of it. Definitely probable cause, right? Now we have this warrant that's going to happen. We're going to look into what else we can definitely find. But I wanted to bring this to everyone's attention because the one thing that stood out to me was A, the warrant, B, the call, and C, the interaction in this body cam. I wouldn't be surprised if they pull this information out because this is going to be very telling. Should there be a trial, and marks and all that other stuff that might come about, and also trying to determine, well, how often was this happening? Was anybody else around? I have a feeling that if they've been living together for about a year before they went traveling, that this was an interaction that was very telling from both of them. Maybe that this is the kind of relationship that they had. Unfortunately, if they find him, they haven't found him. That's right. We need his cooperation at this point. At the same time, and look at this, when both people have marks, both parties are supposed to be detained and kept apart 72 hours. The police department completely dropped the ball. Now, is that pending from jurisdiction to jurisdiction, or is that just across the board? That's just my question on that. Shout out to everyone in the chat, our new subbies, our new members, our new channel members, of course. We are very thankful for you guys supporting us. We're going to do a rabbit twerk because we're going to be ending our live. Now, we're going to look into see what else we find and cover in this situation. I hope you guys enjoyed this little breakdown. But let's do what we do here and what we do best. That was for all the support. Thank you guys so much. We got to find a rabbit twerk for our channel members as well. We got to look into that. I saw a bunch of rabbit twerking on the chat. I love these stickers, just saying. Thank you so much for your support. Yes, make sure you hit that like button. We held about 300 or so people on this chat in this live. Thank you so much for your financial support. For our new subbies, thank you for just watching. The view is what counts as well. We appreciate you. And thank you so much overall for everyone for giving us just the kind words and everything. We're going to do one more twerk and then we're going to call it a night. Now, let me see what kind of twerk. Let's do this one. Alrighty. Well, thank you so much for joining us again, and the rabbit is out.